You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. It's September. Fall is here. Summer is over. And I am super excited because, fall is my favorite season, to be honest. I love it. I love that it's not too hot and it's not too cold. It's just right. I know Virgos are having their moment right now. I know that, Queen Bee has had her birthday, and so a lot of people are in the Virgos groove. But, I always look at Virgo season as the kickoff to Libra season, so I don't have a problem with the Virgos like that. My one of my brothers who's close to my age, I guess people call him an Irish twin, but we don't really, I know people don't think that's a good word to use. So he is someone who is less than 10 months apart from me. I'm the oldest, and he's next to me, and he is on the cusp, August 13th. So he's like what they call it, a Leo Virgo or whatever. But Virgos are interesting specimen. But no, I'm excited about fall in general. I'm not a pumpkin spice latte person, but I am a pumpkin spice smell taste person. Okay, and when I mean by taste, I mean like cookies and muffins and things like that. I'm down with that. But pumpkin spice latte, not so much. But I do like other things that are pumpkin spice. So like the smell of the candles. I think I love fall candles. I love what's that, white vanilla? Is that special type of vanilla that people like to use? Things smell like just the fall smells, the candle smells. I'm thinking pumpkin. I'm thinking white vanilla or something of that nature. Those type of smells. Yeah, it's that season. I just am seeing that in my mind right now, like the smell of that candle. I think was it Bath and Body Works or somebody who was using them, which Bed Body and Beyond is about to start doing massive layoffs and cutting staff. But that's another conversation for another day. But yeah, I remember those candles. They was these big ass candles. You know who has the best candles that sell really good candles for fall, and people sleep on them, or at least people my group sleep on them. It's like Marshalls and TJ Maxx, those home goods stores. They have the best affordable candles with good quality. I'm talking that real good soy wax. Like, they have some really good long lasting strong candles. I remember a year ago or so, I bought a bunch of these big ass candles, and they were selling them for $16 or whatever. And listen, the whole house smelled like Halloween. It was delectable. It was wonderful. It was great. So I would say for sure the smell, like a pumpkin spice latte smelling candle, was fine, but the taste, no. That's how I feel about coffee in general. I don't even drink coffee, but I like the smell of coffee, but the taste of it, and some coffee themed desserts. But I just drinking it and being an addict to coffee like that, not as much. But I still have to say that with fall comes new news and new fun and new surprises. I am so happy to announce that I am recording this lovely podcast, Ernestly Speaking, in my new place. I am moved in, and I'm super excited. We're about, I would say, 85 to 90% done with the spot. Most of the furniture's come in, the couch is here, the bookshelf is here. What else is here? All of the wonderful wedding gifts that we received. We finally got to open them. We got here, I was playing no jokes. Shout out to Mambo Movers. Mambo Movers, I got to give you all a shout out. People already know about you. If you don't, they are the best movers in Philadelphia. I've been using them. They are just so great. They got all of my shit about my last place. They got everything, okay? Everything. And they were so effective and efficient. They was able to get the job done in 2 hours. And that included them coming in, taking stuff and putting stuff into the other place. All of that was around roughly 2 hours. It was a quick job. I was able to get my nails done before I did that. Shout out to my girl V at Lux Nails in University City. Got my nails done. They was able to take that place down. Got my, everything. They did everything so effectively. my bestie Jamarcus, and of course Mr. Johnson. We were all, the three amigos getting it done, getting the place together. So this is good to have a good friend that was there. And like, we didn't move anything, but I was telling people that during a move, it's so important to manage. Now, there was some stuff we moved, like the little things that Mr. Johnson just could not let go of until the very last minute. But it's important to manage a move. Like, I can't do both. I can't be getting boxes and packing and packing, yes, but like the moving part and then the managing. Like, I like to have, like, pay for labor, pay people for their work. Don't be cheap when it comes to moving. Get good movers, pay them, tip them. That's a real talent. That's a real service. I forgot how important movers are. Like the professional movers, okay? Because we all think cousin Pookie and them are going to get it done, but then they drop your box or something breaks and you ready to have a family, no dancery. There will be a family affair and it's not going to be nice. So it's important. Get professional movers. I'm serious. They were really good. And what was also great was that I had a really crazy timetable for that move-in day, and I hit my marks. I'm just proud of myself. I'm proud of I'm just so happy. Like, I was like, look, I got to get this Wi-Fi working, which it did. I got to get the movers to get what they need to do in the morning. So they came in around 9 a.m. They were out by noon at the very latest. I think like around 9. It was like 9:30 a.m. to like 11:30 a.m. So they came in and out, dropped that stuff off. By 1 o'clock, the mounter came, and he came in to mount our new TV, which was that 65-inch TV I told you about. I haven't had a TV in 12 years. I've never owned a TV. Everything was streaming on my laptop. But, for a new place and the life I'm living now, because I want to host. The excuse I'm making is that I want to host. I can't host anyone if I don't have a TV. I mean, I can, but the last place I lived, no one really came over. It was just like Jamarcus and a couple of friends every blue moon, but I couldn't really do anything there because I don't know, I just never felt like that was, first of all, I couldn't even mount a TV in there because the way the walls were designed, I couldn't even mount a TV in there if I wanted to. Like, it just was very much, I'm here for a little bit, but I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time, but not a long time. And so it was a hit and quit it. But 5 years was a long time. But, pandemic and everything. But like, I just said, okay, I'm going to get a TV for the sake of just having it. And it was a big ass TV. And me not knowing anything about measurements at the time, they got me over there on that prime cell. They were like 65-inch. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And the Best Buy guy was like, yeah, 65-inch. Yeah, you need that. Man, that motherfucker is huge. It's huge. It is huge. I'm just taken aback by how big this TV is. It feels like a little mini movie theater in my living room. But I'm happy for it. It's very nice. It's the little smart TV. So, we had to get all the passwords to connect the Hulu, the Netflix, which I didn't even know. Well, somebody's Netflix subscription, because I canceled Netflix over here, but somebody had a Netflix subscription. They had a list. Somebody in the family made a phone call, and it was like, look, okay, you did hit all your marks. Zeus, Hulu, YouTube, HBO Max. Who else did I connect? Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, all of the pluses, I connected everything there. I said, let me tell you about moving. And this is for people, because a lot of people have been moving lately. So maybe this is resonating with people. But I made it a point, and I'm so grateful that my move out was like the first days of September, because it's Labor Day weekend. I said, I need to focus. So if y'all notice, I have not really been that much on social media, that much over the weekend and whatnot, because honestly, I was focusing on fucking moving and getting my stuff in there. I was like, I cannot do anything else but focus on this, because how you lay the foundation for your new place will lay the foundation for how the rest of the place should go. If I'm skimp or I half-ass, setting up, designing, doing anything to make this place right, I'm never going to get to it. And then next thing you know, it's just going to be chaos. So I was very invested this weekend in just getting this place down packed. So the people came in, framed the pictures, the TV, all of that. The furniture got assembled, all of that got in place. Everything came in over the weekend except the table. So the only thing I'm missing is my dining room table set and my chairs. That's the only thing that's missing thus far. But that should be coming this week. And then once that is there, it's over. Bookshelf is done, which is by far one of my favorite things, new things. Like, I didn't have a bookshelf in my last place, but this bookshelf is gorgeous. Hardback books only. Love my paperback people. Well, I will one day aspire to have a paperback book myself, eventually after the good sales of hardback. But hardback books only. Was able to get all of my glass awards, emphasis on glass awards, on the shelf. Mr. Johnson's awards as well, also glass awards. I think people love giving glass awards. What happens to the days of good metal awards? People love giving awards made of glass, which is, when you sparkle them and polish them, they're beautiful. They're very beautiful. But I was like, where are all the, so my other awards, it was just too many. I just couldn't do all the like heavy metal stuff, all that. So that didn't, I put that in storage. But my glass awards I put because it just was pretty. I just like the different sparkle and shine. So that was on the shelf. Other great gifts were there. And the wonderful thing we loved was we did a bar shelf for the house. This beautiful bar table, Mr. Bartender Barry. Like this nice bar table. All the liquor you would imagine. And we also hung up this wine rack that put some of my favorite red wine, but just really, really pretty stuff. Just so much fun. So I just cannot wait to host, my really, 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 really close friends. Because let's be clear, this is not a Mikasa Sukasa to the streets. Okay, it's not Mikasa Sukasa street edition. This is very close friends. And it was fun. Like, a couple of my friends were able to come over already. So Jamarcus was able to come through, of course, the first friend to come through. First friend. And then the first lady, of course, Miss Amanda. So, they both came over and was able to chill. There was a saying that I heard years ago, this legend, that if a person leaves something at your place that makes sure they have to come back and get it or need to, that means that you've made it a home. When someone's comfortable enough to leave something and that means they have to come back to get it, that means that you provide them a home. So that happened twice. Jamarcus, I had a crock pot for him. He did not need to get it. He's just like, I'm going to come back and get it later. Ding, ding, ding. And Miss Parks, she's going to crack up, listen to this. She left. We were eating some chicken from a place called Rising Sun. Now, Rising Sun is not a fancy spot. Y'all know I'm a fancy girl. But this is a nice, quick fix. This is a Chinese restaurant. I think it's like a corner store. It's not even a restaurant, like a corner store spot. But they got some really good flavored fried chicken. And I just kept telling about how good this chicken was. It's just some really good, solid fried chicken. And it's really, really good. So she got that and some ragoon. I think it was like crab ragoon or something like that. I didn't have any, but she was just like hype about this. So we got this. She left a chicken wing and a ragoon in a bag that she was supposed to take over to munch. She left it over at the crib. So that's where your ragoon and your chicken wing was. But you seemed like you had a good time, that you didn't probably was even thinking about it. But we was binge watching like Zeus Network shows and crap. And then she also left that sweater I got you. But I have that here, so just come and get it when you can. But yes, so I was just giving away some stuff. So Jamarcus got a lot of stuff. My air conditioners from my last place, he got those, and crock pots. Like, I was just like, need to make space because all this new stuff came in. All those wonderful wedding gifts that many of you all gave, I have them all. The Instapot, the air fryer, the George Foreman Endorse grill, which I am super excited to use. What else did we get? All the silverware, all the plates, all the glasses, all the martini glasses, champagne flute glasses, the Tiffany, aerators. Well, I'm talking about liquor stuff. What else did I get that was non-liquor related? Well, I said some cooking stuff too. Oh, that Vitamix. I got a brand new Vitamix, y'all. Love it. All the stuff that I've already had, but this was, I never opened it. And I remember for the longest, a lot of you all reached out saying, like, why haven't you opened this stuff? I said, because when I move, I want to feel like Christmas. Yes, a La Crested cast iron skillet that I didn't even realize I had put on the registry. And there it was. My mini fridge that's in the bedroom. Okay, so like when I'm done with activities, like right now, while I'm doing my podcast, I am opening up my little Whirlpool mini fridge. Crack me open this refreshing recess. Let me take a sip. And I'm able to do my show. So that's what I love the most. That's I'm just so grateful. I'm just so excited. Like I'm speechless. I'm just really happy about where I live right now, and I love where I live. I love the energy. I love all the new things that's gonna come to it. It's just so pretty, and yeah, I'm feeling really good. Like just a new month, a new, new place. Just before the year. And that was a goal. Our goal was to get a new place before our 1-year anniversary. We was able to pull that off. So I'm just so happy about that news, for sure. So yes. So while I am moving in and having great perfection on that, Made in America is going on, and my little brother is there at Made in America. It's its 10th year anniversary. A lot of 10-year anniversaries. I guess 2012 was a big year of explosion. Dinner and Blanc came to Philly. Yeah. Made in America came to Philly. I was here for 2 years. It was a time, 2012 was. But 10 years of Made in America. So Tyler, the Creator, and Bad Bunny are the headliners. Tyler, the Creator did Saturday. Bad Bunny did Sunday. And it's been a ratchet mess I've been hearing over there. Kodak Black, which y'all know I'm not a fan of, that creep. Y'all know who Kodak Black is. Google him, look him up. He Made America did not let him perform because he was late to his set. And that DJ who was there apparently was trying to hold him down. But let me just say, I don't give a fuck, because none of y'all should be listening to Kodak Black anyway. Colorist, creep, predator. Like, nothing is good about Kodak Black. Okay? And someone should tell Kendrick Lamar about that. That was a stain of his album. They had this man on 2 of his songs. I don't know what he thought he was doing there. NBA Youngboy, who got paid for Made in America, was booked. Did not come. And I think my brother likes him a lot, this NBA Youngboy. I think it's Never Broke Again Youngboy. I guess the NBA stands for Never Broke Again, I suppose. But anyway, he likes this guy and this music this man has. And apparently he couldn't perform because he's still on house arrest. Now see, he was on house arrest when he was doing this, but he thought he was going to get out in time to perform, but he already got the check. So they had to find a replacement for the lineup. This is just ratchet. What are we doing? What are we doing, Made in America? But I just cannot. But apparently people like the show. Lots of security down at the Parkway. Following what happened with Wawa not Made in America. Welcome to America. After that random shooting situation where we never found out who shot the gun. We just heard all the buzz about it. Interesting. I'll leave it at that. Interesting. So, I've been following a lot of the stuff that's been going on in general with just the police, and we'll get to more of that in the episode. But just the it's an interesting about just how criminal justice is being talked about in this country. There's like a tug of war between ideas, and it just never seems to stop. But things that are also not stopping, the promo of this book. So I am getting some early chatter about my book, which is coming out in February. Okay, February 21st, 2023. The Case for Cancel Culture, as you all know. So the book is getting close, but advanced copies are out. People are reading the book. People are loving the book. People are talking about the book. And I'm hearing very good things from folks that I really, really care about, that are actually avid readers and people in the business. They're learning a lot. There's things they didn't know that they're learning about, which is cool. People say it's really, really good. They really, really think it's nice. I mean, I guess me saying this to you on this podcast is like, oh, duh, Ernest. No, I like what I'm hearing. People are saying they're learning different things. They say I'm laying out the case. And there's a lot of just great history and information that puts this in context in a way that they appreciate. And someone also said that what they really liked about the book is that it's not... I guess I'll say how they said. They said that, if people who are not super in the know about politics will not be intimidated by reading this. because of the way that I explain and talk about these topics. That felt good. Because one thing about this book is I didn't want it to be very wonkish, but also I didn't want to make it very like so simple level, basic level context. I wanted it to be something that was approachable for different people. So in other words, you don't have to be an expert or a political mind to read this book and learn something from it and grow from it. But you also don't have to be, this book isn't also something that is so, remedial that you feel like it's not for you to read. It's a great explainer. For those people that know history, the way that I contextualize it and interpret it and how I apply it to make the case for cancel culture, people will be impressed by that. And then for people who just want to learn new things, it also takes its time to do that. So I love that people are appreciating those aspects of the book and just loving my voice. There's so much more great news to come. I know I keep saying this, but we're close to that. There's just, I really cannot wait to make this announcement about the book coming very, 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 very soon. And when I mean very, very soon, it's like super soon. Like it's coming and it's going to be epic. And I'm super excited about that stage of the book, or this moment in the book, because the book is done and I just cannot wait to get into this part of the book, and I can't wait to share the details about it. So I'm going to stop teasing you all and just say, just stay woke, stay alert. To all the people who have advanced copies and have gotten a chance to read it, authors, literary critics and media and people, just all the feedback that you have been giving me and telling me about it. Thank you. Thank you for just reading it and falling in love with it and being excited and reading it in my voice and seeing my argumentation about it. It's been a labor of love doing it, and it just really feels good to be able to have something that connects with people and resonates with people in a different way than what you expect. I mean, it's kind of like this podcast. Like, there's stuff that you all pick up from this podcast and get out of it that I'm like, really? That was the part? But it's not me. It's, everyone's different. And I really, really love that aspect of this, is seeing you all embrace this content and grow from it, because there's so much like bad media and bad content out there. There is a lot of crap out here. I'm not going to hold you. I get it, right? And so I want to be able to give quality, whether it's in a newspaper article, a book, a magazine article, a digital online article, a podcast, a radio appearance, a TV appearance. I want to be able to provide that kind of opportunity and energy. So I'm just so grateful, and I thank you all so much for all the love on that front. So let's get into it. So Omicron booster vaccines are coming. They're dropping. I've been hearing buzz, but it looks like it's coming for sure. There's like this new COVID-19 shot that's coming around. Food and Drug Administration have been talking about this. It is basically an updated booster that targets the original strain of COVID, and it really protects against the original strain, but also Omicron subvariants BA4 and BA5. And they say this will help people improve and get protection basically against this virus, right? So these are bivalent vaccines, and how are they different is because they basically help our cells make defenses against these two strains that cause COVID. So it's two that they're battling against, okay? BA4 and BA5. It's a bivalent. So it's two. The bi means two. And so this is a big deal because apparently there's an average of 91,000 new infections each day from BA.4 and BA5. Okay, these are dominant variants right now in the U.S. As you all know, I have not gotten COVID thus far, but you're talking to somebody who has gotten boosters, has gotten vaccinated, that has been, practicing being very responsible in going out at the best that I can, right? And so it's very important. For people that want to know how to get them, I know they're shipping right now to tens and thousands of places around the U.S. Healthcare centers, health departments, the same places you got your other places, right? CVS and Walgreens are offering the shots. Apparently they're out there now. I'm going to get me one very, very soon. So people are getting some over the weekend, I hear, but not that many because it's Labor Day weekend. But by the next time we go to this podcast, y'all, Mr. Owens will be getting his booster. Okay, I'll be getting my booster, y'all. So we got to get these boosters. We can't play because I've had some people that I know who've gotten COVID for the first time, and that experience was not it. Okay, it was not it. So yes, people that want to know, of course it's safe. I believe it's safe. I mean, the research has not shown otherwise. And immunocompromised people, should definitely get it. Please do. Please make sure you get that. For sure. Apparently, children ages 5 through 11 can still get boosted with the older single strain vaccines, but not this new one yet. Now here's the thing, because I know some of you all was getting double boosted and all that. You should wait at least 2 months after your last vaccine to get the updated booster. So people who, you may not want to wait as long as 3 months if COVID levels are already high, or if you are reduced immune. So basically, I would say I was vaccinated, double boosted, and I was never infected. And I will be getting the updated booster. They say you should get it 3 months after you've gotten COVID. So the way it works is that for those who've recovered from COVID, the CDC says that you need to wait at least the illness has passed, and if you are no longer contagious. That's for starters. But for best results, they're saying that you might need to delay the booster for at least 3 months after symptoms started, because infection itself probably already acted like a booster. And the studies have shown that people have a relatively low risk of getting sick again for about 3 months after they reoccur. So for those people who've gotten COVID recently, don't jump up and get this booster yet. You might want to pace because you've got some immunity there. Other people who've had the vaccine already, you might want to go ahead and wait 2 months after the vaccine dose. So for those who got the booster, y'all got the booster a while ago. Most people who've gotten boosters a while ago, go ahead and get this booster now. But maybe you got another booster shot or something else happened. You have to space it out by 2 months. So that's important to know for sure. But other than that, be safe, Research shows that it is effective. There's been lots of trials. This is no joke. The shots need to be updated to protect people from BA and B5. And it seems like the BA and B5 is really super contagious. So these vaccinations, man, I mean, go ahead and get them. That's my thoughts. Trump. I get every week, I'm like, do I need to keep talking about him? But it's getting real. And also, too, this week, there was 2 things that happened, right? Biden gave this big national speech in Philadelphia, and I was not able to go because I wasn't invited, and it's fine. I'm not mad. But the people who went, I saw people that went, I'm like, Anyway, he spoke in Philadelphia about the soul of the democracy, which I think is just very corny, this whole saving the soul of our democracy. I find the labeling corny. Not the idea, right? The soul of the country, save the soul of America, sure. I don't know how I feel about that. But anywho, he's trying to restore the soul of this nation. But I'm just like, did this nation even have a soul? I mean, they raped the soil of from Native Americans, from indigenous people. Let me clarify. Indigenous people, because I'm not going to put American on them by default. Well, then again, this was America before quote unquote Americans claimed it, right? But they are indigenous people, had this land taken from them. Slaves were brought here, enslaved black folks were brought here to do this land, to do this labor, to make this country. Where was the soul in America at that point, right? While they were creating democracy, right, and talk about liberty and justice, they didn't even see the people that they stole land from, exploited, and even brought over from Africa to come here to do this work. I mean, it's just disgusting. So I don't know if there was ever a soul in America, but that might be too meta, too deep. But this is a deep meta podcast. But I just like, he's like, we got to restore the soul. How about we just get this country to fuck together? How about we just use that slogan rather than the slogan of, oh, we got to save the soul? Because some people are going to be like, soul where? When did America have a soul? For whom? For who did America have a soul? Restore what? Oh, because now white people are getting impacted by it. So now we've lost this country because white people are now feeling the detriment of a non-democratic country now. Now that democracy is not for them. That's when we all want to say we got to restore the soul of this country. Because now democracy has become, a lack of democracy has become evident to white people. So now all of a sudden we need to restore. But not, the 60s. Or I digress. But I just, but anywho, what I did appreciate about Biden's speech was that he did call a thing. He identifies that these MAGA extremists, right, these Make America Great Again, these big Trump supporters, they're a problem. And he calls them out for it. He's like, look, this is not okay. This extremism is going to hurt us. It's not a political issue. It's a real thing. You have extremists, political extremists that have now wreaked havoc, right? They're causing destruction. They're aligning themselves with white supremacists, neo-Nazis. I mean, this is real. Okay, this is America in 2022. It is no fucking joke. This shit has gotten out of fucking line. Been out of line over here. But for these people that are now here recognizing the issues, right? Come to the table, sit down, help yourself. Welcome to America is Fucking Up. Chapter 1619. But I say all this to say that his speech was very poignant, and he makes it very clear that people got to go to the polls, right? Women, everybody, all of us, white women, go to the polls, right? And really wrestle with these issues and talk about them and explain it. What has happened with this extremism is impacting people outside of just, I like Donald Trump, I don't like Donald Trump. It has led to a demagogue like dictatorship where even though this man is not in the Oval Office, he is still running this country with his minions. And these people are people who are literally at this point traitors, right? They're not, this narrative of they're misguided Americans who just want the best for the country. No, they've become the thugs and the mob that they've always really been. They just want a leader that was going to assemble the base, right? Mitt Romney wasn't that guy to do that kind of shit. And the rest of the other candidates, Republican candidates that was there, I mean, maybe Ted Cruz, quote unquote, maybe he would have been down, but they needed somebody who was fearless, a rich, pompous white man like Trump that give no fucks about anyone but himself. They needed someone like him to lead the charge. And he's their guy, right? He's going to be their guy until the bars, until they lock his ass up, until there's no more of him politically, right? But meanwhile, Trump Social is collapsing. Google, shout to Google for this, not everything about Google's. Google ain't listen, Google, okay? They took this down. They shut this down. They took this and removed it, which was very good. They took his app down. The app apparently isn't doing too well. It's just a waste of money. It's stupid. I mean, honestly, I'm happy that Trump has a place that no one's caring about outside his followers. It's ugly. It was a dumb app. What a dumb idea, right? But, there were people who did follow it for what it was worth and tried to make sense of it. But it's just like he's been creating a base where he can try to, invoke another problem. And then you hear these conversations from folks like Lindsey Graham and all these other people, or I think it was Newt Gingrich, that said that they'll be rioting in the streets if Trump is indicted. I'm sorry, but what happened to law? I'm not even going to ask those questions, because when we're dealing with thugs, right, they don't have respect for the law, right? They don't care about any of this stuff. These people are so anti-police, anti-FBI, defund the FBI. That's a piece of law enforcement, you dumbasses. Like, they really are invested in suppressing people. But, this is the country that they've created. This is the country they've wanted. And, Biden, I mean, the speech is a pretty big damn deal, but it's like, Biden, you didn't see this coming? Like, you didn't see this coming? Okay. Well, November, y'all. November. Vote. I need y'all to go to the polls. Midterms. Don't sleep on the midterms, y'all. I know there's a lot of things going on, but we really gotta, the general election is November 8th. We can't fuck this up. So we'll see. But speaking about races on a local level or a more statewide level, John Fetterman is getting Dr. Oz together. They're running in that Pennsylvania Senate race. Well, the U.S. Pennsylvania state race or Pennsylvania race for Senate. They're going at each other, and this time it's about the Horton brothers. If you don't know who the Horton brothers are, Fetterman has been demanding, that Oz said, basically lied and said that he, Oz demanded he fire, quote, wrongfully convicted brothers who received clemency over a 1993 murder. He's referring to these brothers, Lee and Dennis Horton. In 1993, which was nearly 30 years ago, they were accused of providing a ride to a friend who killed a man at a Philadelphia bar. This is in Philly, y'all. These brothers, who were black, okay, they insisted they were innocent forever. They declined a plea bargain that would have seen them released from prison in 5 to 10 years. And instead, they received life sentences. Because they declined plea bargains. Because they were like, we didn't do anything wrong, so I ain't taking a plea, because they believed in the system. And instead, they received life sentences. They were released last year after, the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons, which John Fetterman chairs as lieutenant governor, unanimously recommended that their sentence be commuted. Okay? So since then, they've worked on Fetterman's campaign. I've talked about them before. I've had this conversation with Fetterman when he came on my show. And these two black men are older. They went through a lot. They spent nearly 20 years behind bars. Over 20 years. They got released nearly 30 years. They spent nearly 30 years, over 25 years behind bars for a crime they did not commit, on life sentences. And Fetterman commuted those sentences with the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons. That's a big fucking deal. So they've been working on his campaign, pushing out Fetterman's message about criminal justice reform and the work that he's been doing, which has been incredible. And a lot of people did not take a lot of time to talk about Fetterman's work in that field. It was a lot of talk about all this other stuff, about, legalizing cannabis, which I support, and other things like that. But there was not enough conversations about the criminal justice aspect of Fetterman's career, because so many other people were talking about other things and misinterpreting those things. However, Dr. Oz's campaign put out a press release on Thursday, basically calling the Horton brothers convicted murderers, trying to paint, Fetterman as being lenient on crime, really trying to frame Fetterman like he's this, he's soft on crime. They've been saying, it's this narrative they give about Democrats and criminal justice reform. They're going to let all the prisoners and killers out. And that's just not the case, right? And what's crazy is he posted this on Twitter saying that, because he was endorsed by Trump. Let's be clear. Dr. Oz is endorsed by Trump. He basically said that the brothers were, quote, on his Twitter, he posted, were convicted in the murder and are now paid by Fetterman's campaign. But what he did not mention was that those sentences were commuted and that those men are innocent. So he's calling two black men who were exonerated for a crime they did not commit, who spent 27 years of their life behind bars. He's going to call them, mention they're convicted, and put this out there and put a target on those two black men's backs. Fuck Dr. Oz. So Fetterman has been going at him, as he should. Quote, he said in his statement, he said, going after two campaign staffers is a new low for Dr. Oz. He described them as, he said in a statement, he described the Hortons as wrongfully convicted and said that fighting for their release was, quote, and this is what he said. He said they were wrongfully convicted. This is what Fetterman said about the brothers. Right, just right. They were wrongfully convicted. And he also added, quote, that fighting for their release was, quote, was one of the proudest moments of my career, and I'm honored to have them on this team. So it's disgusting what he's doing. I have a lot of emotions about it. It frustrates me. I've seen the Horton brothers before out on the campaign trail. They've definitely come to Philadelphia. Remember when I was telling you all about people in Philadelphia for Fetterman's camp that was out here spreading the word to get him to win big in Pennsylvania? These brothers were a part of that. They've been on the ground. They've been in Philadelphia. Was talking to wards in areas. And when I told people that Connor Lamb was going to lose big time, and when I said Malcolm Kenyatta didn't have a chance, and the fact that Fetterman won all across Philadelphia and he won Philadelphia. He won every county at the Democratic primary in May. Every county he won, and part of why he won in Philadelphia was completely, largely because of the Horton brothers and the story about them and what happened to them. And I definitely want to talk to them, and there's more to come on that, because I just have so many thoughts about what happened to them. And stay tuned, because this season hasn't had a special edition, but we might be having a special edition very soon, because there's some thoughts about that I want to get into. But without further ado, City Council is here. We in September. Y'all know that time window. People are starting to whisper about running for positions. I got some City Council election gossip. Some mayoral race gossip. Not really gossip. Things I've heard around the town. Can't confirm nor deny. Well, one thing is a fact. So it's official. Your fave trash man, that guy who built a name for himself taking out trash and doing a lot of sanitation advocacy work across Philadelphia, black guy, nice guy. He is running for city council at large. He's announced it. It was in Philadelphia Magazine, okay? It came out this weekend. He's running. Why? That's my thought. I mean, not why. I mean, he, to hear from him, he feels like this is his calling. Personally, I'm not enthusiastic about it. I'm one of those people that it reminds, well, I'm projecting here, but it reminds myself, like, folks will be like, oh, you should run for office one day, Ernest. No. Like, I just feel like, why does every good doing citizen has to run for office? I know politicians suck and we want better politicians, but there's some people, I'm just like, we had a sanitation leader. Why do he want to be now in politics? That's a whole different role. I just need people. I'm getting a little older, a little pragmatic, but I would just like to see my elected officials just have a little bit more. We just need elected officials that got a little bit more polish, or not polish in presentation, but just preparation. I just don't know. Where's the preparation to be an elected official? Like, I know everybody got to start somewhere, but like, have you worked in an office? Have you, have you worked in this? It's just so, we just hire a lot of people based off of emotion. And I just kind of feel like this is a situation where it's like, you're doing so much great work in what you're doing around this issue on sanitation. Does that automatically make you a city council person? I don't think so. I don't think it even makes you qualified. I just feel like it's good work, but it's not necessarily what you need to do. Like, I have a lot of thoughts about politics and civil work. I do a lot of advocacy work, but I don't want to be elected official, because I do think that it's important for me as a black man to be in this industry and be in media and be in journalism as I am, because there is not that many people like myself, and I want to create a pipeline, inspire a pipeline, and continue a legacy that so many around me has done, right? This is necessary work. And I think your fave trash man was doing that work. And I don't know why now the idea of him just running, but he's got a team. He's got a team behind him. He's got some interesting people working his campaign for him. I just hope this doesn't become another, shenanigan. Because every city council race, there's always a couple of candidates that run that are big names, and their campaigns become super silly. So I'm trying to be optimistic and think good things about this, but it's just really hard. I'm not going to hold you. It's really hard. But good luck. I'm hearing Maria Canela Sanchez might be announced anytime soon. She just announced a brand new website. She got some new headshots. I'm seeing a mayoral announcement very soon, y'all. It's coming. If you read my piece, I was saying a lot of people are going to start announcing. I'm looking at you, Derek Green. You announced a mayor right now. You announced a mayor this week. I'm looking at you. I'm hearing some whispers. So it's looking like we're starting to see some things shape up. So far, Alan, no one has announced or declared for mayor yet. There's been no one's declared officially yet. Let's just put that on the table. As of this recording of this podcast, let me say that, because I know Labor Day coming and, a lot of other stuff. And let me just say that, as of the recording of this podcast, no one has officially declared they're running for mayor yet. But it looks like that's going to change very, 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 very soon. September 15th could not get here any sooner, but I need to see some changes now. So let's see. Next week will be, the following week of Thursday. By then, we might see some announcements coming. But it's got to hurry. People got to hurry up and resign. People got to hurry up and get it moving. Alan Dom is not going to be at city council. He hasn't announced anything else at the time. But, he's ready to go. And I feel him on that. So here's some things I'm not feeling. A lot of you have been asking me about the Philadelphia Inquirer and a lot of the drama happening with them and PABJ, which is the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists, the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, Philadelphia chapter, NAHJ, and AAJA, the Asian American Journalism Association, which is also AAJA, which is the Philadelphia chapter. So the three of us are an affinity group, and we have created a new accountability watchdog group called JOHN, which is the Journalism Accountability Watchdog Network. It's in Philadelphia. We also are working with the Free Press, which is a great nonprofit. One of the presidents from NHJ is also works for them, and one of the board members of PABJ also works for the Free Press. So there's a cross collaboration there. But the presidents of AAJA, NHJ Philly, AAJ Philly, which includes myself as president of PABJ, and also Tahi Chappelle, which is a good friend of mine, but also the parliamentarian of PABJ, but also an employee at Free Press. We are the four. We are currently the leaders of JOHN. Yes, JAWN, JOHN. Isn't that kind of cool how we put that together? Journalism Accountability Watchdog Network. I love it. It's so Philly. So anyway, we JOHN, this JOHN that we have formed, we have seen some issues at the Inquirer for a long time, and you all know some of the things I've talked about. But this is something I want to bring to your attention. Right now at the Philadelphia Inquirer, there are no black male reporters outside of sports. So that means right now in the Philadelphia Inquirer, there is not a black man covering politics, community affairs, LGBTQ issues, arts, entertainment, food, culture, none of those things. Okay? The reporter that did that, who was covering social issues and crime and justice, was Mensa Dean, a longtime reporter there. He is left to go to a new publication called The Trace. So he was the sole black man for a while. He is now left. So now there are no black men covering anything except sports. That is fucking problematic. The Inquirer has millions upon millions of dollars. They get tons of support, right? And for them to have there's so much staff and no one covering, no black male covering. So for comparison, the Inquirer has dozens and dozens of employees. There are only 10 editorial employees at Philadelphia Magazine. Out of that 10, 2 black men do actual reporting in addition to other things. I do a lot of news coverage, and Sandy Smith, a black man, is the property editor and covers property and real estate, and I cover politics and social community issues. And we also have black women. We have a black woman managing editor at Philly Mag, and we also have another black woman who's doing a lot of other reporting for us. So there is, with a small staff that we have of about 10 people in editorial, we have a nice representative diversity. Could it be more diverse across the board? Absolutely. But per capita, per scale, we have a nice percentage based on our editorial staff that actually produce the news. Meanwhile, when you look at the Inquirer, they don't have that many black people there. I think it was like under 10% or 7% of the entire employees there are black. And then when you get down to black men, it's like you can count on your fingers. And let me be clear that they do have a black opinion editor, and they do have a black male columnist that sometimes write for them. They do have a black male sports reporter, but behind the scenes, there's been some problems over there with pay inequity being complained over there in that department by them. So they're not doing too great themselves. So there's a lot of issues in those departments and in that room. And so when we saw this, and there's been other issues at the Inquirer, there's been many notable black and brown people have left. There was a Latino journalist who quit shortly after joining the community news desk that they tried to propose. There was Cassie Owens. Many of y'all have read her work. She now works at the Free Press. Yeah, look at what's going on. She done left the Inquirer after over 5 years of being there. So much award-winning work. She left. Jamil Rush, who was the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion VP that they had, stayed there for like a year and some change, and then he dipped. Now he's at Google. So it's crazy to me how this is happening right now. It's crazy. It's wild that they've been doing this. And there's just been a lot of other issues. So John put out a statement demanding a meeting, accountability from the Inquirer. And I will tell you personally that anybody who's been following my journey with the Inquirer and the issues they've been having there, these issues are institutional. They've been here before I was here. Many of you all who've lived in Philadelphia for a long time know that the Inquirer, the quote-unquote Philadelphia's paper of record, has had an issue for a long time when it comes to DEI, right? And recently they've done this big, huge thing of making all these apologies. And I've been talking about it, like all these apologies for their history of racism and all this and the third. But the problem is, for all the apologies and all that they've made, they have not really been aggressively changing anything. At least it appears to the public based on this, right? They've been consistently hiring everyone but black and brown people. And every time they try to hire numbers or the numbers increase, the retention is not there because somebody else leaves. So it's always one gap for another gap. And for all of the hype and the hot air, we haven't seen any long-standing institutional changes that have been long-standing. They want to do this without us. And so it became clear when the Inquirer's publisher, Lisa Hughes, put out this blistering letter to the colleagues and to the staff on a Friday, which, let me tell you something, PR, whenever time you put out a statement, out there to colleagues and people in the press on a Labor Day weekend, on a Friday, that means that you want this to be buried. You don't want this to carry. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I shared screenshots of that letter on my Twitter, and people shared it and was disgusted and shocked and very frustrated with the fact that this was the response that she gave. So I'm not going to read all of the letter, but I'll read a part of what she said. She said, quote, colleagues, as some of you may have heard, our commitment and work toward diversity, equity, and inclusion is being called into question. The conversation that took place this week on Twitter was very misleading about the important work our staff, especially in the newsroom, has done to create a more equitable and inclusive organization. In response, leaders of the local chapters of NAHJ, AAJA, PABJ, and Free Press launched the Journalism Accountability Watchdog Network, JOHN Coalition. Although there are voices outside of our organization looking to downplay and disregard the hard work that goes on each and every day at the Inquirer, we know better. We will not be discouraged, and we will not give in to their demands, threats, and belittlement. The unwarranted public attack is incredibly disheartening, as it diminished the important work we have done since 2020, as we pledged to become an anti-racist organization and committed to an unflinching examination of ourselves. We understood we could not begin to move forward until we truly understood and acknowledged our failings, which led to the first installment of our A More Perfect Union series, Black City White Paper. End quote. There's more in that letter that's full of bullshit, but let me be clear what stood out to me about that. If this isn't gaslighting, I don't know what is. So, because a group of affinity group leaders, presidents of these affinity groups, sent a letter critiquing and sharing concern about the lack of coverage, asking for a meeting to discuss these issues, there's no shutting down. It's being dismissed as being belittlement and bullying, and basically a lot of white tears and white fragility. I'm reading through this. Lisa Hughes is an old, rich white woman who runs the Inquirer. That is just a fact. She's old, she's rich, she's white, and she's a woman. She's a rich white woman that is running this publication. And for all of the identity politics that shaped her being in that position, where people were saying things like, oh, she's the first woman, this is gonna be a breakthrough for DEI. Sadly, that's not the case. That sadly, this idea of touting people's identities in a way that is going to lead to some solidarity and support that does not actually work, right? We saw what happened in the 2016 election, right? That this assumption that white women were going to support Hillary Clinton because she was a woman and not support Trump, who's had a history of sexism. We saw what ended up happening. White women voted arguably against their own interests, or maybe the interests of white supremacy, which might serve their own interests. There it could be, right? In this situation, the narrative was, oh, there's a white woman for the first time running the Philadelphia Inquirer as the publisher. This is going to lead to progress and change. And what has happened is now we're seeing the same type of politics. We're seeing people just shut down dialogue. And this is a newspaper. How do you call yourself the paper of public record? And literally, it's affinity groups that inform these programs. She doesn't even know who she's talking to. Like, the programs that she's bragging about and talking about were advised and proposed to by people, right, in this ecosystem, this media ecosystem, black and brown people that have to run that shit by and say something. And the fact that she's saying belittlement, do you know that you're disparaging the leaders of organizations to which your black and brown members are a part of? That they do not like the fact that their presidents are being disparaged by the publisher of their publication, and that you're basically dismissing any legitimate concerns. How do you think we get those concerns? Unlike what the Inquirer do, our concerns are informed by the community and the people that are afflicted and impacted by these issues. And so if you're someone that's shutting down conversation, you are basically boycotting affinity groups. You're locking them out of the room. You created a table and you flipped it over and you locked them out and told them fuck off. And that's how I read the letter, was that basically they said, oh, it's good, we got it from here. So in 2020, when the racial uprising was happening, they needed us, right? They wanted to meet with us. They wanted to have all these conversations. And now that they've gotten some ideas, they've exploited our labor and our intellectual, value and property. Now all of a sudden they're like, oh no more. We got this and we're good. As if we were not the people that inspired the shit that happened. As if we were not the individuals that led and organized these conversations. It was disgusting, tone deaf, a horrible letter. And quite frankly, I think that I don't understand why she would stay and think that doing it that way is a good way to be a leader. I mean, does her editor know? Does the editor-in-chief, did she even talk to Gabe Escobar, who, again, they touted him as being the first Latinx and first person of color to lead the publication. But I always tell people, not all of our skin folk are our kinfolk, because where is the outrage and the pushback? We don't see it. We don't hear it. How is all of this acceptable? But again, identity politics, right? Because people are not expected to critique Lisa Hughes because she's a woman, right? Like why would you do that? Or Gabe Escobar, he's a person of color. Well, I am black, to be clear. And when I speak about groups of color, I'm talking about a collaboration of the folks. If I'm talking about black people, I'm talking about black people. But if it's black and brown and Asian, other people in the conversation, yes, it's journalists of color. Yes, it's JLC. Yes, it's people of color, PLC, in those situations. But we have to be clear that these institutions will use you up and then throw you right back out. Because for all of the many years that these groups were having these meetings, and some of us, like myself, was in those meetings with people like the Lisa Hughes and the Gabes and others, to see this be the response they have and how they act, talking about unwarranted public attack. I'm sorry, you all do not have any more black men reporting outside of sports at your newsroom. The fact that y'all have allowed that to happen, to me, is the unwarranted public attack. It's an unwarranted public attack that most of this city is black and brown, and they pick up a newspaper and that's not one that looks like them reporting on these issues. It's the erasure for me. It's the erasure for me. And too often we sit back and we let this shit slide. We sit back and we think this is okay. We sit back and we just say, okay, sure. But enough is enough. Enough is a fucking enough. And I really am going to be very clear and transparent that if this is the way that the conversation is going to be, I hope that the Inquirer leadership is listening to the feedback. They got dragged on Twitter, y'all. People have been, leaders in the media ecosystem have been criticized them nationally and locally. They are a laughingstock and disgrace right now, and an embarrassment to Philadelphia media right now. And what's interesting is that for all the money and the resources they get, all of the money they get from the Lindfest Institute, which gives them millions of dollars every year, y'all, it's ridiculous. This money could be going towards DEI efforts. It could be going towards better recruitment, how to maintain and, keep contrition. It could go to a lot of other places. But they are choosing to use it for projects that are supposed to, window dress the issue rather than to solve it, right? I hear that a More Perfect Union project from Lindfest will raise around $700,000 to fund that project. $700K. Do you know if I had $700K, what I would be doing with that money, increase diversity, equity, inclusion in my publication? Man, $700,000 ain't nothing to sneeze at. And yet they're doing this for this project, right? Because they want to get awards and buzz. And they want to just sit up here and window dress and use this as a way to dismiss criticism. So it's like, oh, we did this black project, so y'all can't call us racist. I'm sorry, you are still a racist. You can vote for Obama all day. You can watch Moonlight and love it all day. You can feel all the feels about everything you've liked. You can like fried chicken all day. You can support black businesses or shop there all day, and you can still hold racist beliefs. You can still hold anti-blackness, and we got to stop acting like you can just sit up here and, you know, materialize advocacy, you know, commodify this support. It's just not there. So we'll see what happens next. Emphasis on we'll see. So last week I was talking about I called him Ariel Spears, I think last week. Ari Spears and Tiffany Haddish, what the fuck are y'all doing? There's a big lawsuit right now suing them for accusing them of basically being pedophiles. Those are the accusations. That they you know, I don't want to get all into the sensitivity of the story is a lot. There's a 7-year-old, a 15-year-old at the time that was their ages that were basically subjected to some disgusting acts that was in the name of comedy. And whether or not, you know, Tiffany Haddish and Spears, you know, did molest them or if that's the way the term is, the situation and the environment they put those kids in was very problematic. Intention of whether or not there was actual desire of inappropriate behavior is whatever, but they were doing a comedy sketch that was trying to view into the eyes of a predator or a pedophile, and they use these kids in a way, and these videos are on Laugh or Die, I believe it's called. Laugh or Die, which they had to put out a statement that they were not a part of creating it, but they aired this on their segment. You can find it on YouTube somewhere. But there's this clip, and it shows this young 7-year-old boy, and the camera is on his ass. It's just like violating, and the kids have said they've been uncomfortable. There's all types of other inappropriate content, but like none of this is okay. And even if they you know do not, they're so let me be clear. Tiffany Haddish and Ari Spears have both vehemently denied these allegations. They've been saying their team has been calling it a money grab and all of that. But to me, to even use these kids in this type of way for humor, what was even funny about it? I saw it, I was like more grossed out than thought was funny. But this happened many years ago, but at the same time, it's like, it's not even funny. It wasn't funny then, it wasn't funny now. It just was not okay. And so I'm just not really feeling it. And so, you know, karma's a bitch. Ari Spears, whatever the hell this washed up Mad TV guy. You was on Lizzo talking shit about Lizzo. Now you got some other things to find. See, listen, when you playing games, somebody upstairs is gonna make sure they give you something to be busy with. Oh, you not busy enough. Oh, you want some attention. Oh, you want some controversy. There you go. Because had he not talked about Lizzo, I don't know if this story would have been as big, to be honest. You know, I mean, Tiffany Haddish, but I don't know. I think part of it is the interesting karma and the reversal of fortune has quickly happened for him. But Godspeed if you're innocent. So, Kanye West. I'm not going to even go too much into the conversation about Kanye West, but like, long story short, he's on another Instagram, because he used to do Twitter rants, now he's on Instagram rants. Same shit, different day from this motherfucker. I just really don't have anything nice to say about Kanye West. I just don't. And those who've read my book, you'll see how I feel about him even more. I don't. He's now, you know, criticizing the Kardashians, going after Kris Jenner, you know, going after Kim, talking about, you know, first of all, sharing intimate information about alleged surgery she's doing or whatever, her body, talking about, it's just a lot of not okay stuff that I'm not going to repeat. But he also was talking about, you know, the pornography ruined his marriage, you know, slut-shaming her about that and talking about his kids and how he's worried about them and, you know, just that and third. But the issue here is that a lot of people have been doing the whole, oh, you know, he's not mentally well, so that's why. I'm going to need y'all to stop using bipolar disorder as a scapegoat for every fucking thing Kanye do. Everything is not bipolar disorder. Everything is not anything else you're trying to accuse him of. Sometimes he's just an asshole, and that's just what it is. And in this situation, you know, people have a compulsion to do certain things. You don't run directly to a actual, you know, just, you just, I don't know. You just don't put everything on social media, and in this way. And he has had a history of just attacking them. And let me be clear. I don't feel bad. I mean, I'm worried about these kids. The kids to me are the priority. The kids to me are the ones that I'm most concerned about because they didn't pick their parents. Okay, and the fact is that now he wants to make this about race and talk about how all of them have had, all these black men are entrapped in the pornography, ruined his marriage, and that they all want to over sexualize them, and Chris is the momager, wants to pimp the kids out, just all this bullshit. I mean, it's just like, he talks about the being explained as a black man, the racial stuff, but it's like, first of all, Kanye, we knew this, we already knew this, you ain't telling us anything we did not already know already, dude. We've been telling you this was always a conversation, you knew it, you wanted to use it for clout, and today you use you for clout. Y'all all mutually benefited off each other, okay? You used Kim as a muse, okay? That was your muse, and now you need to use find a new muse. Is it Jeffree Star? Listen, that was the Jeffree he was talking about, y'all. Messy. But you gotta find a new muse. But you used Kim, okay, for clout. You wanted to have the girl, quote unquote, that was untamed, and you wanted to have that person that you can be able to, front for and flex for. So you did what you did. And now you want to have, I don't want to call it buyer's remorse, but let's call it a thing. Now you want to come around here and act like you've seen the light and you see something that the rest of us hasn't seen. We already knew, and we just don't care at this point. And like I said, it's ableist for people to keep using his bipolar diagnosis as the justification for all these actions, because that's the game that he plays, but that's not what it is. This is a man who just wants attention and just pressed and just is going through it because he doesn't have control over a certain industry or thing. I feel like whenever Kanye is not leading or the center of the attention, and that's when he acts out as a disruption to be able to fit in some sense of relevancy. It's sad, but fame is a drug, and that's what it's doing to him. Now, speaking of fame being a drug and problematic stuff, I am going to go and give this like 2 minutes, I promise. Stacey Dash. If you don't know who Stacey Dash is, she's a black girl who's been Clueless. She just came out recently announcing that, she did not know DMX had been dead for over a year. She was very emotional in the video with this music in the background. It was a lot of stuff. Guys, I'm going to call bullshit on this and instantly cap. Stacey Dash was not trying to talk about DMX or give him a memorial. Stacey Dash was trying to let us know that she has bleached her skin and she looks like a white woman now. If you look at Stacey Dash, she looks white. Her skin is ridiculously pale. She's done some work, some fading, and now we can all see it. And it's just so sad. Like, what happened to her? Like, oh my God, I don't understand what happened to her. Like, how did we lose her? She was, like, when did this happen? Like, she's Dame Dash's family for relative for crying out loud. Like, what the fuck went wrong with Stacey Dash? I mean, not the skin bleaching too. I mean, Trump is about to be out of here, girl. What was you doing? I thought it was a ploy to get some attention and relevance, but it seemed like there's some real deep shit there. I'm telling you, it takes a lot to be a Trump supporter for attention. Eventually, it's going to fade away and you're going to reveal who you really are. But, like, in this case, she just is really sticking to some stuff. She got some real hurt there. I mean, therapy, please. Therapy. Pray for her, y'all. Pray for her. Well, you had to pray for Jay-Z and his ignorance. So, Beyonce's husband decided to compare the term capitalist to the N-word, and wants everybody to know that, quote, we're not going to be tricked out of our position. It's been a lot going on because, he did that verse on the title track of God Did from DJ Khaled's new album. And, a lot of people just kept calling him, he's a billionaire mogul, Jay-Z's a billionaire. They keep calling him a capitalist, and he feels some type of way about it. So he was on Twitter Spaces last week with a journalist, Rob Markman, and he also was with DJ Khaled and some other people. And he was on that Twitter Spaces, and he was asked about this line this verse where he says, quote, please, Lord, forgive me for what the stove did. Nobody touched the Billy until Hove did. How many billionaires can come from Hove crib? I can count 3. Me, Ye, Ree, Bronze, a rock boy. So 4 technically. Woo! basically, he's taking credit for making Rihanna, Kanye West, and LeBron James billionaires, basically, and flexing this. Now, it's interesting because it's beyond. I think Beyonce. I'm gonna put it. Me and my bestie. Listen, Amanda and I was talking about this. I think that Beyonce's a billionaire. I don't think Beyonce wants someone to know she's a billionaire because she don't want to deal with the kind of attention that Jay-Z is getting, right? So he basically said during this live that he did was that we're not going to stop. He said hip-hop is young. We're still growing. We're not falling for the tricknology, whatever the public puts out there now. Before it was the American dream. Pull yourself up out of bootstraps. You can make it in America. All these lies that America told us our whole life. And then when we start getting it, they try to lock us out of it. They start inventing words like capitalist and things like that. We've been called nigger and monkey and shit. I don't care what words y'all come up with. Y'all gotta come with stronger words. We're not gonna stop. We're not going to be tricked out of our position. Y'all locked us out. Y'all created a system that, doesn't include us. We said, fine. We went our alternative route, recreated this music. Okay. Let me just say that this is ridiculous. This is the dumbest shit I've heard. Like, in a while. And I've heard a lot of dumb shit. I know I say this every week. Maybe this is a dumbass year. But this is okay, so let's just take this step by step. Capitalist is not a made-up word. Capitalist is a word that's been around for a long time. Venture capitalist. Capitalist has been a dictionary for decades. I don't know where the fuck he came from with this. Okay, Jay-Z, you are a capitalist. As a billionaire, you're a capitalist. Any multi-millionaire billionaires, they're a capitalist by default. Okay, this country is built off a system of capitalism. And then we all know that capitalism is exploitative as fuck. It just is what it is by design, right? It benefits off of exploiting labor for profit and for gain. And it's a wild, wild west. And it's an embodiment of social Darwinism. Survival of the fittest. It eats people, right? It's a Leviathan. That's how I feel about capitalism. Look at me. Y'all gonna call me a young socialist. Maybe not. Who knows? But people are gonna hate me for saying that. But that's just what the truth is, right? Now, there's levels to this understanding of socialism, okay? Or even capitalism, but more so about capitalism. Capitalism is inescapable in American context, right? It's inescapable. And there's no such thing as social capitalism or moral capitalism. Listen, it's just what it is. It's an ugly, dirty thing, right? It's also the dirtiness of living in a first world country where other people don't have sensible things. That's just embedded, right? But the goal and the lesson here, living in a capitalist society, is not to fucking exploit, not to be gross, and not to use it and be gross capitalism and to embellish it in a way. It's almost like we all know we have to use electricity. We know that, it is a carbon footprint, but the goal is to reduce the carbon footprint, right? It's to reduce the pollution as much as possible. We know that there's a necessary evil that comes with this because we're trapped in this system, and many of us who wish we could get out don't have it, right? So it's a lot of things to process. And so I tell people, working class people, right? You going to work and getting a check is not making you a capitalist. Okay, let's be clear. It's the people who are grossly owning property, owning businesses excessively, exploiting people, not entrepreneurs, not individual entrepreneurs, right? Like individuals that are working to pay bills. If you're making money to pay bills and to have a little bit of leisure in your life, you're not a capitalist, right? That's just not the gross means of capitalists, right? Capitalists are people that literally own monopolies, dominate the economy, control workers' ability to work and labor, pay people under the table, be able to manipulate and control people's livelihoods at a time, and be able to do so in a way that is going to always be self-serving for their own profit and their own gain. Okay, so when we hear about people working in sweatshops for companies and whatnot, that's an example of gross capitalism, right? When you look at how Amazon exploits its workers and don't give them fair share, and you look at people like Jeff Bezos, he's a disgusting capitalist, right? When you look at people like Jay-Z, who oftentimes exploit and pimp off the culture and then turn around and use it to make profit for himself, kind of like what he did with the NFL situation with Colin Kaepernick, or what he did with the Occupy the streets, and he talked about Occupy our streets in the hood or whatever, and took that and sold that Barney's. even though that story discriminated against black people. Like, that's capitalism, right? It's gross, it's disgusting, it's the type of behavior where there's no other explanation other than one's pursuit of money and power. That is what capitalist looks like. Jay-Z is a disgusting capitalist, and that's just what it is, right? But yes, a gross, disgusting capitalist can be a person that you can also admire, right? You can like some of his music. You can respect his life story at one point in time. And a lot of times, capitalists like him love to talk about the bottom days, but they never talk about what happens when they're at the top. And the funny thing is that when they were at the bottom, rapping about the top, they became the very people that they were talking about the top, which makes it very ironic that they aspire to be those people. So, if your aspirations of the American dream, or whatever the fuck that means, is to get rich, to be the very problematic people that you are, that ain't no American dream. That's an American nightmare. And so many of these people are out here aspiring to wealth to become the very evils that abuse them. It's a very disgusting type of way to live, right? That some people think that being rich and being successful is becoming the very people that were abusive to them or to exploit to their families. Like, if success looks like basically being Donald Trump, which is what hip-hop used to teach back in the day, was like up like Trump or comparing him or aspiring to be a boss like Trump, you didn't realize that you was basically, celebrating a gross capitalist that was out here having tons of civil rights lawsuits and violations and civil suits against him, and you're over here okay with embracing this man, acting like because of his wealth, quote unquote, his material money, that somehow this is reasonable. And that's how we get to a Jay-Z. Because people like Jay-Z love dropping all these names, Jimmy Iovine and all these other folks that he know, and Warren Buffett and all these rich white people and all these capitalists. And like, that's supposed to be a flex. Like, he is such a fucking Gen Xer. Gen Xers are so like the boomer light version of the generation, where they say that they know better, but they think it's something to celebrate that they're doing the same things as everybody else. Like, he's one of those older black guys, which we know these people, right? These could be our aunts and uncles and grandparents, folks that they're still in the mindset that doing what white people have done is an achievement, right? That, oh, white men own multiple companies and I'm doing that. Yay! Because they're so brainwashed, because that's what white supremacy do, right, to black people, right? It shames them for adversity. It shames them and teaches them that how they are in their circumstances are consequences of not being white, right? And not recognizing that it's actually white supremacy that created that it's not your parent not having that degree that create these circumstances, that with or without a degree, white people with or without a degree are doing better financially than black folks with it, right? So they will create a pathology, blaming the high school dropout, blaming the person that didn't get the college degree, blaming the person for having a baby at a young age, but not recognize that if you look at the scale rate of white people with those same circumstances, they are not living in the same conditions or experiences as black and brown people who do. So to even continue to use poverty and weaponize poverty against poor people and make it look like it's their fault while they're in their predicaments has been the tell us all this time in America. A national company, or a corporate nation, right, that literally has benefited off of not having accountability for their actions and faulting the people to which they fuck over for them. That's the fucking American way, right? The American way is making people, be in a place, right, where they are thinking to themselves, I'm poor. This is my fault. I need to do something about it. That is such an American concept, right? That it doesn't look at the country and say, well, what was the environment that created this poverty? What is the environment that made your school not safe? Too many people are trying to apply aspirational politics. And you know why? Is that for black people that do not want to acknowledge, or they're struggling with slavery, the consequences of slavery over the centuries, right? There's a defense mechanism that black people have, some black people, right? People like Jay-Z, that they want agency, complete and total agency, because they believe that mental agency, that freedom, to believe that they're free in this fucked up country, that they're free and they have all this liberty. They want to believe that so bad. And the only way that they can believe they have that agency, that power, is by pretending that these material crises, these consequences do not exist. So their mindset is that I can't act like it's an institutional social injustice on everything. That capitalism, this thing I aspire to, is the problem that's creating these problems. And that to perpetuate this same lifestyle would mean that I would have to forego other means to be successful. They want to convince themselves that those issues, those material issues don't exist, that they got what they got because they were smart and clever and cool. And if more people were smart and clever and cool like them, they would get the same things. Well, society tells us all the time that you could be smart as hell in this country, do great as well, and still get paid less. Ask black women these questions. Ask women these questions. Like, pay inequity is real, right? But these are the issues that, again, Jay-Z doesn't want to acknowledge, because to acknowledge such means that he would have to be accountable to the same critique of those who have. He is someone who have in a country of have-nots. And so what he tries to do is try to flip everything, turn everything around, and make it about, oh, if you are smart and you work hard, you do this, I got this because I worked hard and I was smart. Yes, there is some, level of working hard that pays into it. No one's going to take you from that. But if you're in a situation where you think that being a billionaire makes you somehow the answer, the be all, and that somehow what you're doing is liberating and this, that, and the third, all this generational wealth talk, can we just get off of that real quick? Like, why are we talking about generational wealth in a country that has so many people, incarcerated, and disenfranchised socially? People can't even get a fucking loan in this country. Okay, but you're talking about building generational wealth. Black people can't even get a loan or get mortgages or get support for their houses. And don't talk about what Bacon America is fucking doing. Too little, too late, and I'm side-eyeing that shit. But we're talking about generational wealth in a country where there are people who don't even have access to public drinking water. How do we talk about generational wealth when there's people that living in these cities across this country, places like Flint, that still have yet to have actual clean, accessible water? There are people in this country that are impacted by the environment, that cannot even have the type of standard job security due to climate change, that can even be able to secure jobs that way. Unions that are still dealing with diversity, equity, inclusion issues, that cannot hire the most ready and astute black folks for jobs all the time. Like, these are the real issues that we're facing, and people are over here talking about generational wealth. How do we do that when we're structurally fucked over from that access to wealth? Like, if to build a strong, wealth class, let's just entertain this for 5 stupid seconds. It will require a population that is fully educated or have resources and access to education, right? To be able to be fully educated and get access to educate and graduate, right? So you have to educate the base. Then after that, you have to put them in positions where they can be gainfully employed, so they can be able to pay off debts and pay off loans and get access to loans and things to help their businesses go through. This is a country that right now has not created a clear opportunity and access and opportunity for black and brown people to be able to actually have the standard American dream. A couple of people get lucky, right? There's one nice person in a room that may see something in you and give you a pass, right? But how many of those people are giving passes to all the other people? And how many other people have people like them that can give passes like that? So there is barriers, right? But this individual success is what people use to motivate them, to guide them through and say, well, look at me and look what I went through because I made it. You can't. At some point, you got to stop with all of that fucking stuff. Like, you just have to, because folks have lives out here, and I know there are people out here trying their hardest day in and day out to succeed and make stuff happen, and to see people dismiss that work and dismiss those struggles or that hustle just to try to flex, like they got something that someone else don't. It's just not right. It's not right, and it's just so wrong. And so all of that I'm saying is that Jay-Z is a disgusting, gross capitalist. But let me explain where it's even more hypocritical. This man talks about Marcus Garvey, Fred Hampton. He talks about the Black Panther movement. He talks about Malcolm X. Do you know what these men have said about capitalism? Do you know where these men's stances are about men like you? Men like you would be the type of men that Fred Hampton would drag out. Okay, he would drag you in the press. He would call you a joke. We already know what Malcolm X has said about people like Jay-Z. There is a great interview that he does, I think it was the Ed Sullivan Show, where Malcolm X actually, I'm going to actually try to find it because it's beautiful. I'm gonna look this up because I just have to read it. Yes, he did. So Malcolm X warned us many years ago about the pitfalls of black celebrities as leaders. He talked about this a long time ago. And these celebrities like him, oftentimes love to frame people about this. And he spoke about this in 1963. He was in a conversation with sociologists John Leggett and Herman Blake, which was an African American, a black at the time sociology teaching assistant. Basically the argument was that black leaders consistently betrayed black struggle for justice. That's what Leggett was talking about. But white liberals was at fault, Malcolm argued. Okay, Malcolm X did. Because he said it was they who endorsed, sanctioned, subsidized, and supported these type of black leaders, whom he called puppets. And he named specifically actress Lena Horne and comedian Dick Gregory, claiming that white liberals placed black celebrities as leaders in front of the American public, and claimed that they did this and claimed that their interests were the representative of all black people. And so Malcolm X was never here for black celebrities because he really saw that leadership class they couldn't be trusted with social transformation. He says, look at them. They have proximity to capital and they got fame, they got fortune. They couldn't be aligned with the black masses. He framed them really as a group that was separate from the people they claimed to represent. And that's true because he was at the root of race and class issues. That it's not just identity politics, it's class. And so these types of people should not be our leaders because they do not represent us in that way. And so Jay-Z, right? Listen what Malcolm X has said, right? You have to talk about these figures. They're talking about you. He's talking about you. He's talking about people like you. And you cannot be a leader. You're not a leader of these communities. Like, your wealth is your wealth. You're part of a elite leadership class of people, and that's cute. And donate where you can, but you can't be the spokesperson of these issues anymore. Yes, at one point when you was a rapper, you was talking about it. When you was at those Marcy Project homes. Yes, you was a voice. You could talk about your struggles, but at this point now, with the wealth and everything you have, you're not. And the problem is, when you think about it, we talk about this a amount of times. Look at how white people in general talk about leaders. Beyonce is a politician. She's an artistic, cultural leader, right? But she's not a politician. I'm sorry. Beyonce is not a politician. She's not. Why is it that when we talk about black leaders and role models, we're referring to basketball players and singers? When we talk about white people that are white leaders, we're not naming singers, right? This is Malcolm X to the T, which was genius. We're not talking about Meryl Streep. We're talking about, Angela Merkel. We're talking about, the Queen of England. We're talking about Trump. We're talking about, Joe Biden. We're Nancy Pelosi. Those are the leaders that white people are talking about in the conversation. Warren Buffett's and, people of that stature. They're not talking about no fucking Jay-Z and Diddy. Like, the black people have been subjected to white liberals telling us who our leaders are. And then we began to put them on a pedestal that was higher than what they are. And then they began to believe that they were on that pedestal themselves. America has a problem. America has a problem. I cannot. So speaking of not problems, because I just cannot with Jay-Z. Every time he's always says something dumb every year. Every year he's going to find something dumb to say or something dumb a position that's dumb to take. I just can't. And there was a time where, I gotta say it. But, Beyonce married this man and Beyonce knows what this man's about. And it's sad, but I feel like her politics might be aligned with his. She's just better at not broadcasting it because as a woman, she's going to be getting a level of scrutiny that he's not. Like, Beyonce gets more scrutiny than Jay-Z do, I feel like. I mean, he gets some backlash, but the level of vitriol that she gets, even when she's not actually saying anything, it's just very telling. The misogynoir is real. But yeah, speaking of which, Serena Williams has retired. And all I'm going to say is that I think she's the GOAT. I think she's the greatest of our generation. She is an athlete. She's incredible. She played some good rounds in the U.S. Open. She lost she's retiring. She's done, but she's done a lot of great work and a lot of great things. And you know, it's just like those athletes, those once in generation athletes. I'm just talking about the athleticism and the buzz, right? Tiger Woods, right? Serena, like, LeBron. There's just certain people that come into the sports world, and even if you don't play sports and do anything about it, will change your whole perspective. Like Serena, I was never a tennis person, like until I knew about Serena and Venus. Like that, I only watched them play. And speaking of which, who the fuck? All these black folks in media that got these tickets to the U.S. Open and tell nobody, okay? Even if I couldn't come, I see y'all. Everybody at the U.S. Open game. I'm like, so where was my tickets? Like, y'all always hitting me up and shaking me down for galas. It's all good. I'm joking, but I'm really not. But it's interesting. That's a lot of people out at one of the U.S. Open games for Serena. I was like, oh, interesting. So all of y'all like tennis now. Interesting. Now there's a couple of folks I know that like tennis, but some of these people I'm just like, you're there for the show. And that would have been me too. But like, no one could have called me. Am I special enough? Okay. I'm joking, but I'm still not like, okay. But yes, I'm happy that she's retiring. I'm happy that she's leaving on her own terms. She's on the front cover of Vogue. I mean, the rollout was everything. Like she did this very quickly and just, yeah, she's incredible. So Beyonce's birthday was this weekend. She's 41. Everybody's like, okay, we thought she was going to drop some visuals by now with Renaissance. I think she's just going to keep going up the Grammy campaign. She's doing a Grammy campaign, y'all. She's doing it. I think she's putting the visuals up like right after the eligibility period because I just don't know. Like, I think she's building up momentum because she wants to get those nominations. She wants to get album of the year. And to be honest, y'all, I mean, it's some interesting people interested, but like this is the album of the year. I keep saying that, but I'm going to keep saying it again. It is the album of the year. But we'll see what happens. I guess speaking of the industry, the Emmys, speaking about award shows and Grammy campaigns, Adele is only one award away from getting EGOT. She's got an Emmy now that she just recently got at the early Grammy show, the Technical Craft Awards. She won for A Night with Adele for a variety show special. She won Emmy. She's already won several Grammys. She's already won an Oscar, for her song Skyfall. And now she needs to win a Tony to get EGOT. So best of luck there. But she's not the only one. Eminem apparently is also a Tony away from getting EGOT. He just recently won an Emmy this year for being a part of the halftime show. And so he's won with a couple of other people, I would imagine. Kendrick Lamar and the rest of them, I would say Mary J. Blige. I think they all got those Emmys. If he he needs to get a Tony if he wants to get EGOT, but we'll see with him. But Adele, I can see Adele. I mean, Adele can do a Broadway musical for crying out loud and easily win a Tony off of the vocals alone. But we'll see what happens there with her. Other interesting things that's come up, and a lot of people have been talking to me about this. There's a piece that came out in Philly Mag about influencer culture. And honestly, what I will say about the subject matter in that piece, because I'm not going to give it too much energy, is that I just need grown-ups to be grown-ups. I think when I read that piece about inside, under the influencer, whatever the title was about the Wild Wild West of influencer culture, it was interesting to me. That stood out to me the most was that you got grown adults that are named in this story that are beefing, and publicists and people beefing with young people about events and things. I'm just kind of like, people are dying right now, right? Like, is this really, I mean, not the story itself, but the people involved in it. Some of the nasty alleged actions that were taking place and the backstabbing and backbiting. I'm like, all of this over some food influencers under some people that want to TikTok food and go to places to get free shit and act like they're going to ad for. I'm just like, is this really what it is? But I just feel like what I'm starting to realize as older I get is that some of this stuff is just giving reality TV, but also some people just are bored and want a certain level of hype. And you as an individual have to wake up and just be like, no, not today. And this is a situation specifically where a lot of these influencers that were in the story, now there were some good stories about some of them, like Josh Eats Philly, Josh Moore, my good Judy, which somebody asked me the other day, what does good Judy mean? It means you're a good friend, a close friend. That's what good Judy means. But we were, he's, he was lauded in the story, looked very good, was a great interview. He was great. But some of the other people in the story, I just was like, we need some media training. We need some media support, something. Because this is not catching. This ain't rocking. At least to me. So, we'll see. We'll see. So, Love and Hip Hop. Been watching it, ooh, Bobby, I Love You, Purr. I'm going to be watching both of those episodes on Zeus coming up in a few. My body is ready. I got to catch up with my baddies. I mean, I'm just really excited about TV right now. TV is having some good moments right now, but sometimes it's the quality, sometimes it's getting there, but it's good. Queen Sugar is coming back. My body is ready for that. Abbott Elementary later this month. So ready for that. The Emmys itself is coming out very soon. We got to talk about Emmy predictions coming up. Now, let me just talk about this movie that I just saw on Amazon Prime, because I do, got the new TV, so I'm watching it. Hunk for Jesus. Please watch this movie. Please watch it. It has Regina Hall, who is underrated, and Michael K. Brown, who's incredible. And these actors, I mean, this is about the Black church, about the mega church's evangelist on television. I mean, it's a very great film. I highly recommend that you watch it. I hope it gets some Golden Globe nominations. I don't know about Oscars, but definitely some Golden Globe nominations in the comedy for both of those actors and maybe the film. Great performances, great, interesting story, and I highly recommend it. The trailer might make you think one thing, but I would encourage you to actually watch the film itself. But Hunk for Jesus is really good. Really, really funny. Very different, important message. I wasn't expecting the story to take the spins it did and get as deep as it did. The comedy aspect makes everybody, think it's not taking it seriously, but it's really, really good. Just cannot keep singing its praises. I seriously encourage you to watch it. But outside of that, this week coming up, a lot of good stuff. I got a piece out in Rolling Stone online about, the summer of the Black queer summer renaissance of music, and talking about like how music has gotten super queer, at least Black artists, and talk about the next gay icons. I'm just super excited this piece is coming out. I love writing for Rolling Stone. I love the opportunity to write some great pieces. This is a really good featuring piece that I did, and really, really excited about it. And there's been so much love at Rolling Stone. I mean, I got a GLAAD nomination this year. And the work is continuing. So it's been some surprises there. Enjoying this week off for my students this week for Labor Day, and this week in general. So I see them next week. But the fall is looking very, very good. And there might be some more surprises between now and next week. But y'all got to stay tuned. Some big stuff is coming. And as always, be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.